ready to start installing your front shocks? This is step number 111. Go ahead and grab a front shock. Again, that's the one with a single spring and the top mounting screw. So measure on your directions, make sure you get the right screw. And it's a little bit hard to see, but we're going to drop this down through the center of the A-arm with the rubber boot going down, and through the bottom of and the center of the bottom A-arm. Grab your screw, stick it through the screw hole on your shock tower, and tighten it up. Now for the bottom, we have two pieces. We have this unit here, and we have this other cone unit. This is going to sit down inside of the bottom A-arm in between these two ears right here, and it's going to capture the shock shaft. So to put this on, what we're going to do is we're going to take the larger piece and your longer screw, and we're going to stick the screw in just a tiny little bit, and then we're going to slip this up underneath the A-arm and slide the screw through just until it's at the end of the little cone inside. I'll show you with this one. We have the A-arm that fits in here, so we're going to slide this into the A-arm. We're going to slide that up under the A-arm and push the screw through just until it's right at the edge of the cone. And you don't want to go too far past it, so just even with the cone. At that point, you're going to rotate your shock shaft around so that the ball is even with the screw, so the screw can go in. You might have to lift up on your A-arm a little bit to get it aligned, but go ahead and get it aligned and push the screw through until you have to peek through just until it comes to the end of the cone, or to the end of the ball inside. I don't think we can really get a shot of that, so I'll show you here. Basically, now we're put together. Turn it the way that it goes. Now basically we're put together like this. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is slide the cone up inside, put it over the screw, and slide the screw through. So this is what it's going to look like once it's mounted up inside. And we'll give you a close-up of it once we have it mounted up in here, I hope. So let's take our cone. The smaller nose part goes towards the shaft, towards the shock. Going to make sure our screw is only to the edge of the ball. I backed it out a little bit. Going to slide the cone in. It's kind of hard to do and watch for the camera at the same time. But we're going to get that slid in. Push the screw through. So now the shock is securely mounted on the inside. Going to get our flanged nut. Put it on the back. And tighten it up. I have to get my right tool here. Going to use the multi-tool. And one of these is going to fit on there. There we go. And we'll screw it in. You don't want to over tighten these. You want to put it on just until that flanged nut touches. I have this set on a really light setting. So that's how your front shock goes on. Let's see if we can get a photo of this from the bottom so that you can take a look at it. That's how it looks from the bottom. And now you can see, if we can get this to focus, that's how it looks on the inside. Let's go ahead and repeat this process for the second side, because it is a little bit tricky. I'm just going to quickly go through this and get her done. Put the top one in. Going to slip this up underneath. Put the screw through. Going to swing the end of the shock around and lift up on the arm. Kind of wiggle it until the bolt goes. Put my finger in there until I just feel the bolt. Now I'm going to take the cone and put it in with the nose towards the shock. Line it up with the screw. Push it through. And install the nut. It's pretty straightforward. All right, now both the front shocks are mounted. Starting to look like a Baja now. Starting to look like a Baja. I like playing with the suspension. All right, now seeing as how we have already built the rear shocks, we're going to skip from step number 111. We're going to skip to step number 117. So go ahead and get your parts out, and we're going to mount up the rear shocks. Step number 117. Before we mount up the rear shocks in the next step in the manual, we need to address the rear shock mount. And that's going to very simply mount onto the rear shock tower, just like so. And there are 4 screws that hold it on. Before we mount the screws, there's 2 small aluminum spacers. And those small aluminum spacers fit into the hole, which would be the bottom of the 2 holes on the shock tower. So go ahead and slip those in. It's pretty straightforward. You should punch right in with your thumb and slide in. Now we're going to use the shorter screws, which are a M4x15, and that's going to mount the upper hole, and then the longer screw is going to go down and mount through the hole that we just put the spacer in. Just going to put this in a couple of turns by hand. And I'm going to move over to the other side. Put this one in a couple of screw turns by hand. I'm going to take the longer screw, slip it in. The reason we didn't tighten these up is that sometimes you need to wiggle these around to get them aligned properly. I'm going to screw that in 4 or 5 turns by hand. That's on the bottom one. Then I'll grab the last one on the other side, screw that one in 3 or 4 turns by hand. Then we'll get out our wrench and tighten them down. I think my battery's dying on my wrench here. All right. So that is the end of step number 117. We've just mounted up our shock tower brace on the rear. So let's go ahead and drag out the shock and the 4 bolts needed to put on the rear shocks, and we'll get those going. Onward, step 118, mounting the rear shocks. Let's go ahead and grab one of the rears. You can see that there are 2 mounting hole positions in the shock mount, and we're going to use, by the manual, the bottom one. Grab one of the shorter screws. You should have 4 screws left, 2 long and 2 short. Going to grab one of the shorter ones and put it through the top cap and slide it through the bottom hole in the shock tower, and follow up with a nut on the back and tighten it down. From there, we're going to take the bottom of the shock and rotate the end so that it is even to go through with the screw. And you're going to use your thumb and collapse the shock a little bit. And we're going to slip this down in between the A-arm here. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to get in there, which is okay. You just have to align it properly so that it slips in. Then we're going to take one of our longer screws, slide it in until it touches, and then tighten it up. You don't want to over tighten this. You just want to tighten it until it touches. That's how we mount our rear shocks. I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time over here for you. Starting off with our shorter screw. Going to put that into the bottom hole. Put a nut on the back. And tighten it up. We're going to take our longer screw and get it ready. Going to rotate our bottom shaft until it aligns up with the hole for the rear. And we're going to wiggle that around till it aligns properly and slides into the groove. Get the screw ready and screw it in just until you get some resistance. Okay. Boy, we're making quick work out of that. That's step number 18 done. You can feel how the rears are a lot beefier than the front. All right. Next step is going to be to put on, looks like some of the front bumper and body mount assembly. So we're going to go ahead and get all the pieces out and ready, and we're going to work on the front.